Welcome to the Social Millennial Podcast, NYCBX. We in here. Don't call it a comeback. We've been out here in these streets, fam. I know it's been a while, maybe 3-4 weeks, but we've been trying to get this technology on point so we can deliver to y'all the best quality content that we possibly could at this point. So hopefully this is coming through loud and clear and crisp and not sounding like some weird tin can underwater. So yeah, I hope y'all love it. But let's get right down to it because it's been a minute. For those who have not listened to the podcast before, this is just a few hot takes, some rants, some life lessons. I might talk about anime. I might talk about movies. I might talk about politics. I might talk about some other weird stuff, some other weird things that have happened to me. That's just sort of how it is. It's like a box of chocolates. You take what you get. You take it or leave it. You love it or you leave it alone. I certainly hope that y'all love it. I'll do this off the rip. If you want to interact with the Social Millennial Podcast, want to talk to us, want to send us some subjects to talk about, want to hear my thought process on certain things, on certain issues as they happen, whether it be politics or just anything. If you've got questions, we've got answers, right? But you can get to us at the Social Millennial Podcast at gmail.com. You can get to us on Facebook at Social Millennial Pod. And on Instagram is the same handle at Social Millennial Pod. We are on YouTube. It's just the audio, but I mean, you could definitely comment. You could definitely get to us there too. We're not on Twitter yet. We're going to be there. I know I've been saying it for like the past 2 months, but that will happen. It's going to happen. It is on the horizon. For those who are in the Twitterverse. But yeah, let's just get to it, fam. So much has happened. I will not be speaking on every little thing that has gone on over the past 4 weeks, because that would be crazy. A lot of crazy stuff happened just this week alone, and I won't even be talking about everything that's been happening this week. I'm about to do a little throwback. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Disney Plus service. Fam, Disney Plus. Disney they just own everything. It's wild. It's off the chain. It's bonkers, fam. Disney owns everything. Everything. So now I'm about to talk about Disney Plus and how they pulled their catalog from everywhere else, all these other services, systematically to throw it all on on Disney Plus, and they've got Fox now. So they're pulling all the Fox stuff off of everywhere else and throwing it into Disney Plus. Fam, Netflix, Netflix was shaking in their boots, I tell you. The stocks were going down, and, you know, out of adversity, you come up with some cool ideas, and I really love what Netflix is doing right now with they seem to really be leaning heavily for content. They just need content. So they've been getting all these sort of lesser known directors to come in and do full productions, full Netflix films, and I'm down for it. We even got a few A-listers on some of these Netflix films, and I am here for it. I'm here for it. I feel like it's gonna push the art form forward. I feel like a lot of really great directors are gonna get their shot through Netflix, not through Hulu, not through Amazon. I feel like it's just gonna be fire. It just was a great idea to do. I'm really hoping that I see Netflix become, the home for stand-up comedy, the home for anime, the home for original cool content where the directors and the writers just get to do things that are interesting and things that are cool that people want to see. Because right now, sort of the Hollywood system is giving us the same, like sort of at the top tier of what's going on with these big films. It's just much of the same. And I get why. This is an industry. You want to make money. They've got money invested. They've got producers investing money. They've got studios investing money. They've got investors investing money in these films to get them made, and they want their returns. So, you're gonna check the boxes. You're gonna make sure you're getting some kind of return back from the money that you put in, and you're hoping that it's a sure thing. So you want to make it the surest as possible. But fam, that's not how industry moves forward. That's not how the art form moves forward. So I'm really happy for Netflix. Kudos to Netflix for figuring out or trying to attempt to keep your streaming service afloat. Hulu's got all the network stuff, and some of these networks have their own streaming services. So it's just the landscape is varied now. But kudos to Netflix. I really hope to see them prosper. But yeah, so um Disney Plus. Disney Plus. Namely Marvel. I really want to talk about Marvel. I'm really not excited for this sort of slate, this Phase 4 slate. There's very few things that excite me about this. I'm not really fatigued on Marvel films. I just, even though it's long overdue, and I'm happy that we're getting these sort of TV episodic seasons that are linking directly into the films. I kind of feel like it was a missed opportunity with Daredevil and the Defenders. I kind of wanted to see that kind of crossover from them because I don't need to see the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I feel like I don't have to do that. I feel like I get everything that I need to get from those characters out of their movies. Wanda Maximoff, I get them from the movies. I feel like I don't need a show. I don't need to sit with them for that long, those Avengers characters. But I liked the ability to sit with the Defenders characters for a long time. For those who don't know, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Punisher. I mean, Punisher wasn't in the Defenders, but you know, he's one of those ground level anti-heroes. And Iron Fist. I really liked the idea of spending time with them because those ground level characters, it's easy to write and deal with their storylines because they've got a lot of very complex storylines and deep and realistic and gritty storylines from the comics that can easily be adapted to the movies. I mean, to the shows. And that's what we got for all of those seasons. You know, we got, you know, for better or for worse, adaptations of the comics that were really great and really entertaining and really interesting. A real, you know, dive into the human condition and so on. And some of these characters are just from different walks of life. You know, Luke Cage is black, living in Harlem, defending Harlem. And Iron Fist is Danny Rand, who was gone, and Kunlun came back. They thought he was dead, but he's still alive, and his company is a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar organization, and he's got to deal with that, and fish out of water, and being rich, and being white. Like, it's really cool. It's really awesome stuff. And I wish that we'd gotten that kind of interaction, where we got the ground level, like, this is what the real world is. Interacting with these sort of high-level galactic sort of worldwide threat level heroes. I thought that would have been really cool, but alas, it didn't happen. You know, Disney did their thing and didn't renew the contract with Netflix. I assume so that they can pull their content off of Netflix, and I believe there's a cool down period or something of like 3 years or maybe more than that before they can use the rights again to put Daredevil and Luke Cage and stuff in things. So I think they're just biding their time so that they can integrate them eventually. Yeah, I feel like it was a missed opportunity, and the stars didn't align. But I just don't feel like I want to sit with these other characters. I feel like I've gotten enough of these characters. I feel like we could get accomplished with a movie what we don't need to be accomplished with a series. And then they were saying that they want to stretch it out. They don't want to binge it. They don't want to make it bingeable. So they want to release it like it's a network television show. All these different shows, the Hawkeye show, the Winter Soldier show with Captain America, and the WandaVision show. I'm not hype about WandaVision at all. That's the one that I'm least hype about because I feel like we don't need it. Vision was dead. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. They might do something creative with it, but I feel like I'm going to start getting into it only midway through. And only because of the mutant aspect, because Marvel's got the X-Men now. So now we don't have to dance around Wanda Maximoff not being a mutant, because that's what they had to do before. And her powers were like super vague, were super vague. Like, is it magic? Is it telekinesis? Like, what is she doing? In the comics, she's a mutant. She's got the X gene. So I think it would be pretty cool when we get to Wanda again in WandaVision and we start to dive into her powers more, and it can be that X gene. We could get that gateway into the X-Men and into the X gene and into mutants through Wanda Maximoff. You know, that would be fire flames. So I'm really down for WandaVision only because of that aspect, and that Wanda is teaming up with Stephen Strange for the next Doctor Strange film. And that WandaVision is going to tee up. It's going to set up that other movie, that Doctor Strange film. So I'm hyped for that, fam. Only for that, in that aspect. Besides that, I really don't feel like I need to see a relationship sitcom with Wanda Maximoff and Vision. I don't feel like that's going to be interesting, but we'll see what they do. I mean, I haven't seen it, but we'll see what they do. Hawkeye, I'm not even here for. I'm not. I'm just really not. And excuse me, it's super early. Oh man, I need some coffee. I've been hustling too hard. I need a vacay. But I'm really, really more excited for the Phase 5 stuff. Black Panther 2 and a bunch of other things that are happening then. I'm down for that. This sort of Disney Plus thing is a little weird to me. The Loki joint, that Loki show, I don't know that I'm too hype about either. I feel like Tom Hiddleston he's losing his vigor, sort of, playing Loki. That's how I feel. I could be wrong. But Hiddleston, he does a lot of different things, and he's an actor, a thespian. And I feel like, you play a character for so long, it just starts getting boring. You start becoming a parody of yourself. You start like trying to play yourself playing the character, much like what happened to Johnny Depp with Jack Sparrow. By now, it's like Johnny Depp trying to play Johnny Depp playing Jack Sparrow. And it's a funky feeling. It's a weird, uncanny valley of emotionally to absorb Johnny Depp being Jack Sparrow now. It's weird how he does it. So you just do it for so long. You do such a good job at it. You've got to replicate it every single time, and you're not going to be able to do that every single time. You're not in the same mind state. You're not in the same place to channel that and to be able to do that as an actor. I mean, I'm sure some people can, but I can understand. People are not perfect. I can understand it being difficult to come back into that role and then to not be as if you're aping it from yourself. Then I'm kind of down for Captain America and the Winter Soldier thing, just because Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie have such great chemistry. Just because they're such great people, they're fire dudes. I would want to see that just off the strength of that idea. But I'm not super excited for Falcon being Captain America. I wanted to see if they give him powers, and I hope that they give him powers to legitimize the Captain America moniker, because he's a regular dude. He had those wings. He's a regular dude. So here we go. Oh, excuse me. But yeah. So Disney is really trying to own everything, like hard body. Still, though, kudos to Kevin Feige for planning everything and to planning the contingency plans he set up, or seemingly, I'm calling it contingency plans, that he set up for Spider-Man. Was, Sony and Marvel did not come back to the table for that contract. I think eventually they're going to, because there's a lot of money to be made there. And really, I feel that it was Marvel's touch and Kevin Feige's touch, fingers and hands. When Marvel put their hands on Spider-Man, they killed it. When Sony puts their hands on Spider-Man, they kill it in the bad way. Like they is dead. It's DOA. But even the movies that were DOA, Spider-Man movies from Sony, were cash cows. Spider-Man is the highest grossing franchise film character IP for Sony. And it has been for a long, long time. Even the really bad movies, the really bad Spider-Man films. So it made 100% sense to me that Sony did not want to give up any of that money, any of that cut, that percentage of a cut. Even though they put forth sort of little compromises, Disney wanted a big cut. They wanted a 50-50 cut. And I side with Sony. Nah, fam. I have the rights to this movie. I have the rights to this IP in film. So I should be making that guap because I own it, not you. And that makes a whole lot of sense. Disney already has all of the merchandising. They own the merchandising. So even from the Far From Home and the new Spider-Man stuff, all the toys that get made in games and things, they own that. They get all that money. Sony doesn't see that money. They just see the money from the film. So the returns from the box office. So it makes sense to me. I just like that Kevin Feige had the contingency where it was just announced yesterday that RDJ is coming back for a Disney Plus show. He'll probably be a hologram AI like Jarvis, and we'll probably do Riri and do Ironheart. I didn't like the Ironheart comics. I thought that they were a little bit contrived, and I understood the backlash against them and why that line was not popular, that title. I get it. There were not people of color in that writer's room. There were not women of color in that writer's room, and I get it. It showed in the writing. But I think they can rectify that character in the MCU. I think it could be fire. As long as they don't get some like wild, super far left leaning people, I feel like we could do some great justice with Ironheart. I feel like we can do Ironheart justice like Wonder Woman was done justice. That movie rocked. That was girl power. That was femininity. That was strength, all rolled up into one. And I feel like they could do that with Ironheart if they just play their cards right. If they don't play their cards right, we're going to get another Captain Marvel nonsense. And that's a whole other podcast that I have rants about. But I think this character could be done great, you know. So kudos to Kevin Feige for all this planning. I mean, even though there's certain things that I'm not necessarily here for, it's fire. This guy's doing his job. He's getting paid the big bucks to make sure that to make sure the ship goes the way that it needs to go. You feel me? Sorry for Tom Holland, you know, no longer in the MCU for now. You know, he had to have his powwow moment with RDJ going hiking and had to call all his friends like, what am I supposed to do next now? Tom Holland is still under contract to do 1 or 2 more films with Sony, and probably then he'll re-up. I don't know what he's going to do. I hope he re-ups up. I hope Sony doesn't screw the pooch or shit the bed and the next Spider-Man film is trash. I really hope not, because it would just be a wasted opportunity. Tom Holland is a very good Spider-Man, very good actor, very cool dude, just taking it all in stride. So shout outs to him, man. Just doing it. Just keep doing it, man. You're making that guap. You're in your bag. So you'll be okay. All right. So yeah, that was pretty fire. Now I was gonna talk about paper straws, and I have a rant about that, but I'm gonna save that for another podcast. I think I could rant at length about that. I don't know, maybe you guys want to hear it, but I'm gonna save it, and instead I'm gonna talk about some interesting things that I sort of learned over these past few weeks. I had this interesting interaction regarding this gig that I was going to take, and of course, names will be blocked out to protect the innocent. So, yeah, I had this gig that I was going to do. For those who don't know, I am also a musician. I'm a jack of all trades. I play multiple instruments. I sing, I produce, songwrite, all kinds of things. I was going to go. It was a gig, and it was supposed to be far away, but not as far. I didn't think it was as far as it ended up becoming. And I was doing someone a favor. I was undercharging because it's a friend of mine, and I support him. He's a great dude, makes great music. You know, I'm on board with him. But you know, I was doing a professional courtesy to my friend and as a favor and going along for the ride. It was a little far, and I sort of undercharged. And I found out that it was super far. It was farther than I expected it to be, and I pulled out. Now, I saw fit that it was okay to pull out because my friend he was adequately set up that if I wasn't there, you know, he's good to go. Though I'm there, my presence would be missed and it would enrich what's going on. But you know, he wasn't left out in a lurch in general. As far as I understand at this point, he wasn't left out on the lurch. Now, where the interesting exchange happened was that I let him know via text, but didn't realize that it was a group text with the rest of the individuals that were part of the gig and part of the team going out there. And much to my surprise, there were individuals who were like shocked that I was saying, like, you know, I can't go that far. I knew it was gonna be far, but not that far for X amount of money, you know, for my time. And, you know, they were like, well, you should have got to him in private. I was like, well, maybe, I guess. But then that got me thinking in hindsight, like, maybe not. if we're going to be professionals and if we're coming together as professionals to make it do what it do, I feel like talking business should be on the tip of our tongues. There should not be too many secrets in business as we're going out on a gig. That kind of doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So after the fact, I was thinking about that. Like, that's weird. Professional in my mind, in my heart of hearts, in my understanding, professional mindset would not dictate to like, oh, let me keep it under wraps. Let me kind of talk to him, off to the side, like, yo, I can't make it. I can't this, this is just too much money. Nah, man, we talk money, man. We talk that cash stuff. We're all in our bag trying to do what we got to do, put food on our table, fam. Our time is money, and we should be compensated adequately. If we do favors for each other, we do favors for each other, and that's okay. But I knew what my boundaries were, and I just wasn't going to do that. It hit one of my boundaries. I know you're a friend of mine and it'll be cool, but it was much farther than I expected it to be. And it just doesn't justify the amount of money that I'm getting for the time that I have to spend dealing with this gig. That was just the crux of the matter. It was nothing personal, but yeah, people were like clutching their pearls, like disturbed. And so I thought it to be super weird, but people are people and they're just going to be people for forever and do their thing. And there's certain things hit certain people different ways. So it is what it is. It was just peculiar. But then this other statement that was made, this other sort of sentiment that was conveyed after, I had let my guy know that wasn't happening, that I wasn't able to do it. That's a boundary I can't do. This person was like, oh, I support you. And I'll go regardless of whether it's far or whether it's some kind of money, whether money is involved or not. Something like that. That was the gist. And in my mind, I'm like, dag, so people are really trying to throw shade? Like, is that really what's happening in this moment? Because all I'm saying is that I can't make it because it's super far. The time that's going to take does not justify the amount of money that I'm getting paid for my time. Even though I was doing a favor and undercharging. So then that got me really thinking, like, what is this? What is this difference? Am I just different? I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. You know what I'm saying? Am I just, pulling up to the scene with my ceiling missing? Is that me? Am I weird for like being like, nah, we should be able to talk business? Even though I felt like I thought that I was texting him privately and I didn't realize it was a group text. I mean, it's not that serious. There should not be that many secrets, right? We should be able to talk that money stuff. We should be able to talk that cash stuff. But I thought to myself, what's the difference? And so I came to this sort of understanding, and it's probably old, probably run of the mill, probably, you guys have heard something similar to this before, but this pro mindset versus this amateur mindset, and how, in my experience, you could have professional training and have an amateur mindset, and that training, like, you won't go anywhere with that. Like, you don't excel. You don't get to the top. You don't get to the middle. You just stay at that amateur level. Your mindset dictates the space that you operate in. I'm sure many people know that. But hey, for those who don't, and for those whom this is helping, your mind and what you perceive about yourself and how what your determination is and what your goals are and how fervent you are in wanting to achieve those things will dictate the spaces that you're going to be able to operate in. The professionally trained with an amateur mindset doesn't go anywhere. But then on the opposite end of the spectrum, it's 100% different. The not professionally trained with a professional mindset, that person can soar. That person still soars. That professional mindset gets that person, makes it so that person will develop their training. It pulls them up, makes a place for them. But if you're operating in an amateur mindset, whether you have professional training or not, you're not going anywhere. You're not. You're just not. That professional mindset gets you to be the first one in and the last one out. That professional mindset creates the boundaries that you need in order to make sure that you are conveying what your value is to the people around you. Because that's really what it is. The boundaries are what conveys the value. So if I have to do this for this amount, or I'm providing this thing for this reason, that's what it has to be. If it changes or it's something else or it's lesser, that reflects poorly on you, and people will treat you accordingly. And so this exchange had me thinking about all of this. Like, am I really the professional here? Am I the one with the professional mindset, and these other people who are clutching their pearls and disturbed about talking business? That so much so that they'll throw shade, and that shade shows the lack of boundaries that they've got for their time. Is it really that I'm functioning with a professional mindset and they're functioning with an amateur mindset? I mean, in my heart of hearts, it remains to be seen. But this concept is a thing. It's definitely a thing. I've had experience with the difference between a professional mindset and an amateur mindset. And I had to come out of that. I personally had to come out of that amateur mindset. So my message to you is function in that professional mindset. Be that guy, first one in, last one out. Be that person. Be that. You know, you want to get to where you want to get to, so you've got to hustle and hustle hard. And that hustle comes out of that professional mindset. You're looking higher. You're developing yourself. You're thinking outside the box. You know, when you got to talk that business, you know how to talk that business. You know how to slang that jargon. You know how to get where you need to get to when you need to get there. All from that professional mindset, the tact, the decorum of a professional. And you show up and you deliver the way that you know how to deliver, and that professional mindset will get you where you need to go. It's not just the good and the service that you're providing. It's the professionalism that gets you places, that puts you places, that causes people to recognize that the station that you're at is not the station that you should be at, because your mindset dictates that you should be higher than the station that you're at. And you will find that people will come along that are at a higher station, see your professionalism that matches their professional mindset, and they will pluck you out of the station that you're at and put you on a higher station, because you don't belong amongst those other people who are at an amateur mindset and who are at a lower level. You should be up here with us. That professional mindset is what does that. It's not just the professional training. And when you've got both, you're set. You know, if you don't have both and you're a professional mindset but not quite trained, you're going to end up training yourself. You're going to end up developing. You're going to end up taking that time to perfect yourself so that your professional mindset matches your capability. You know, you're fully capable to furnish what that professional mindset is asking or is causing other people to ask of you. So do that. You know, this weekend is here, so I know people are chilling, but just do that in everyday life, not just on the job. But you if you're a father, you're a mother, you're a parent, have that professional mindset and see how strong your family unit becomes. Be that proactive professional. Show up and see how your life changed. Watch your life changed. And if you're in that amateur mindset, get out of it. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Take the information, run with it. Run with it, because, I mean, the CEOs are professionally mindset individuals. A professional mindset are those people who start their own businesses, who build their own brands, who ascend, who climb ladders. Be that person. Be that. Because you deserve it. You know, you deserve it just as much as anybody else. So do that. Be that. All right. So now it's time to set the segment of the podcast where I give you guys my recommendations for the week or for the next week or what have you. Definitely go out and, well, not go out, but if you've got Netflix, check out The Dark Crystal. The Dark Crystal is the most fire thing right now that I've been watching. I just started watching it. It is amazing. I am a fan of the original film. So the show is Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. The film is just called The Dark Crystal. The film dropped in 82, I believe. And it's Jim Henson and Frank Oz. Jim Henson was like, listen, I want to make a a fantasy movie from the ground up with a mad lore, and have it all be done with puppets and practical. So that's what he did, him and Frank Oz, and they killed it. That movie is a tour de force of technology and puppeteering. Y'all need to see it. It is amazing. It is a cult classic, out 1982. Let me see if I can give y'all a synopsis of that. For those who haven't seen it, 1982, it's only 33 minutes long. So it's an easy film. Parental guidance suggested, 7.2 on IMDb, 78 on Rotten Tomatoes. The synopsis is as follows. Jen, raised by the noble race called the Mystics, has been told that he is the last survivor of his own race, the Gelflings. He sets out to try to find a shard of the Dark Crystal, a powerful gem that once provided balance to the universe. After the crystal was broken, the evil Skeksis used sinister means to gain control. Jen believes that he can repair the Dark Crystal and bring peace back to the world if he can only find the remaining shard. This movie is lit. It's got its lulls, but it's only 33 minutes. It's not that serious. You get in there and realize everything is practical. The sets, everything, the backgrounds, matte paintings, it's insane. It's insane. For a 1982 film, how ambitious that this thing is. Whoa. I believe that you will enjoy this film, especially if you enjoy fantasy adventure films and you want that lore and you've the scratch that itch, that Game of Thrones itch. Oh, this will definitely scratch that Game of Thrones itch. Now the show on Netflix is a prequel to the movie. So I suggest the order that you watch it. Watch the movie first. It lends better to the narrative because you're going to get to see just what happened to that world and in that world and how that world changed. And the aesthetic, the 1982 gritty, practical aesthetic lends itself to that story. So then when you watch that, you go back to the prequel and see how vibrant that the world was before the shard of the Dark Crystal got broken off, before the Dark Crystal was corrupted. And it's just fire. It lends itself. So then because the show is a mixture of puppeteering and CG. And so when you watch the show on Netflix, you're gonna be, oh wow, you're gonna see what the world was before the Gelfling did what they did. I'm not gonna spoil it. And it's gonna lend itself to the narrative, and it won't be so jarring. So like if you watch the show first and it's all really cool, spiffy, clean effects, and the cinematography is updated and so on, and then you watch the Dark Crystal, the movie, which is, comes after, it would be the sequel to the show. It's going to be lacking. It's going to be, lacking. And also watching it with the movie first and then the show will give you that sort of appreciation for the movie, where everything was practical. There was no sort of CG augmentation. But let me tell you, this show is lit. They do the puppeteering. Jim Henson Productions is still involved. His children run it. It is amazing. Right now, it's 8.8 on IMDb out of 10, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, 95% people on Google like the show. This show is lit. The synopsis for the show is: when three Gelfling discover the horrifying secret behind the Skeksis' power, they set out on an epic journey to ignite the fires of rebellion and try to save their world. This show is fire. I mean, it really scratches that Game of Thrones itch. Yes, it's puppets, but you get used to it. It's fire. It is fire. So please watch it. Please go and like it and tell people about it. It's really awesome. I really love that Jim Henson Productions is still doing its thing. And that Jim Henson, Frank Oz legacy is still living on. So I'm super hype about it because I saw the Dark Crystal when I was really young. And this is just really cool. It hits me right in the feels, and it's so much extra lore that gets built out. It's awesome. We get to see certain things that they just only allude to in the 1982 film. So please watch it. That is my recommendation for the week. Once again, if y'all wanna communicate with the Social Millennial Podcast, hit us up. The Social Millennial Podcast @gmail.com. If you want to email us questions, if y'all want to give us kudos, if y'all want to, let us know what we can do better, if y'all want to, give us some commentary, let us know, give us a list of topics that y'all want us to talk about for the week. We are definitely checking that. We're on Facebook and Instagram, same handle @Social Millennial Pod. like, subscribe, follow, share, comment. Let us know how you feel about the Social Millennial podcast. We're on YouTube. The audio's there. We are going to be upgrading in the near future. We will have a video component to the Social Millennial podcast. So if you want to watch it, y'all gonna get to do that. So that's on the horizon. We'll get on Twitter at some point soon too. That's on the horizon. Let's see. Is that everything? We're on YouTube. Oh, and if you're listening to this, or if that's how you digest your podcasts, most certainly we are on SoundCloud, we are on Spotify, we are on Stitcher, we are on Google, we are on Apple, most all podcast platforms. Not all, but most of the majors. So definitely give us 5 stars, give us 4 stars, comments. Let us know how you like the Social Millennial podcast. Let us know how it makes you feel, good or bad. We just want to know. We want to provide the most entertaining experience for all of you guys, for the world. That's essentially what this is. I mean, I'm ranting and just sort of talking into a mic here, but I also keep in mind that I want you guys to be entertained. So let us know. Give us 5 stars. Show that appreciation. We're not asking for money. We're not asking for time. We're not asking for a Patreon donation. We're just saying give us some stars. Give us some likes. Give us some shares. Repost some things, from our Instagram. Just let us know that you care about it. Let us know. I mean, my NYC people, I'm out here. We support our own. Let us know. Show us. We're out here. Gang, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.